Good morning, Lompoc.
Good morning, Lompoc. Thank you so much for being here. It is Friday.
It is Friday.
Oh, what a week it has been.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us and for keeping up with us and bearing with us as we're trying something new today. We wanted to, there's a lot of stuff happening in the world and we didn't want to gloss over anything. So we had a lot happen. So we want to be open and honest and listening today.
Yep.
So.
Well, today was a really big week for Lompoc. It's obviously a big week all over the country. There's been lots of protests, many of them very peaceful and a few of them violent, but not necessarily for all the reasons that people assume. So we were really proud of Lompoc this week. We wanted to celebrate Lompoc and what it was doing. And then also this week is graduation.
Yes.
We know a lot of the seniors didn't get to celebrate the way that they wanted to, but congratulations to all of you.
Next week, we're going to circle back and really celebrate the graduations that happened.
Yeah.
We're also going to hopefully get a sneak peek at the hopefully soon to open refurbished stadium, Houck Stadium at Lompoc High School. So next week, we might focus just on high schools just a little bit more. So thanks for your patience on that.
Yes. So as many of you know, there was a protest here on Tuesday, and we got a chance to go and visit, participate in that.
It was a little bit uncertain in that, a couple neighboring communities had a little bit more of an issue with violence or looting or rioting and some of those things. And I know there was some stress here and worries from people of all backgrounds about what could or might happen. But the reason that we're talking about this today is that it is positive news. There are leaders in our community that stepped up and made sure that the protests stayed on message and that they were heard. And we want to celebrate that. So we, I guess, in our attempt to be better listeners and to learn more and not assume that we know everything about race or are on the right side of anything, we wanted to listen. So we invited a few folks that are activists in the community to come together and talk to us and so that we could hear what they had to say.
Yes.
So we're going to share that with you today. Again, we just hope that you have an open mind, open heart. This isn't meant to be political. This is to talk about human kindness and trying to better ourselves. So I know everyone has an opinion on these things, but I learned so much that I didn't even know. So I'm just hopeful that you'll be open to these things today. So much perspective.
Yeah. But first, before we get into that, I wanted to share a couple videos from two young ladies who attended the march. Their parents are friends of ours, and we asked if they didn't mind sharing a little bit about their experiences. They're both 14. So I'm going to play that here first, and then we'll get into that.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Lillian and Gabrielle.
It says, I understand, I'll never understand, however I stand. That means, I know that I am not a person of color and that I have never really experienced police brutality. However, I still stand with the fact that people have experienced this greatly in the people of color community. And I decided to peacefully protest with them.
And what were your thoughts on the protest?
I thought the protest was very peaceful for the most part. It was very moving. A lot of people were shouting Black Lives Matter and no justice, no peace. I find that very somewhat empowering to the people protesting.
I thought it was really important because I think everybody should, if they feel strongly about something and they want to have their voices heard, then they should stand up for what they believe. And I think it was important for me because I'm a member of this community, and if no one else is going to love the community, then the community is going to fall apart. So I think it was really important for me because I love Lompoc and I want to have everyone come together.
Before you went, there was a little bit of nervousness. What were you nervous about or scared about?
Well, I know that there was a lot of, I saw a lot of different things about violence, but I think it can go from the protesters and the cops at same level. But I was kind of confident too, because I was like, well, if there is any, I can always go get out of it or help with others that are hurt by it.
It was really cool to see how many people were out there to support, because there was a lot more people than I think everybody expected to be there. And it was really awesome to see how many people were trying to be peaceful and be on the positive side of the change.
Is there one thing that you want to let people your age, younger, older, any of us know?
Just stick up for what you believe in. Like, stick up for your rights, stick up for yourself. Honestly, if it's not for what you are specifically, like pride, people of color, anything, and you still believe that there should be peace, you can partake in the activities as an ally or just a friend of the community.
I want to keep protesting and being part of the positive, peaceful side, and trying to keep motivating other people to also want to be part of the change and utilize their protesting rights.
Thank you so much, ladies. You're awesome.
Yeah. We have a lot to learn from them.
Yep.
I was just amazed at the outpouring of young people that showed up.
So many.
They didn't have ulterior motives or other. They were all singularly focused on making sure that everyone is heard equally. And
many of them dragged their parents to it too, so they thought it was important. So it definitely gives me a lot of hope for the future and what kind of change is possible. So again, we chatted with 4 community activists yesterday, and that went until about 5 o'clock. So this is a little 15-minute video.
Like 3 hours of sleep to this past evening.
It could have been. I'm sure we could have improved upon it, but we really wanted to get their message across that they shared with us. So they were longer interviews, and we tried to chop it down as much as possible, but still keep their message. So thank you all so much.
I did want to say something about them that. I think one other thing to remember is that the reason why we are so proud of Lompoc is because people did show up and it did remain peaceful. So I'm sure if it had gone the other way, or if there had been little tiny incidents, we wouldn't be even talking about this. There were a couple little kerfluffles, I guess, of people who are, somebody showed up with
a white supremacy sign, and instead of getting upset or angry, which is very much within people's rights to do, obviously there's a lot of stress and anger there, they just kind of surrounded him and just kind of made sure that he didn't take away from the movement, but it all stayed very peaceful, which was just, I think, amazing. I'll just
go ahead and say it. If you, and I mean this for everyone in the community of Lompoc, and this is not me on a high horse here, but if you are grateful or you are proud of your community that they kept it peaceful, the people that we talked to and interviewed are greatly responsible for that leadership. And so I can't give enough kudos to these folks who made sure that the whole thing stayed on message and was inclusive. So as you see this, just again, be open, try to listen. But these are the folks that made Lompoc proud, and we should really celebrate them. So,
when you do watch some of the things happening across the country that aren't so peaceful, remember there's hundreds of people at each of these protests, thousands of people. It only takes a couple bad people for it to go wrong. And people lose their heads and get angry. Just think about a Facebook post that upsets you, and then you're just arguing on there. So I'm proud of the rest of the country too for standing up for what's right. I'm sad for the violence and destruction, but I think that there's something good that's going to come out at the end of all this.
And there is something good that's come out of this, and it's going to come from smaller cities like Lompoc, where they put their heads together and they decided, look, we want to see change. We want to be a part of change. And I know everyone's got a different fight here, but I'm really proud of our town.
Me too. Yeah. Same here. All right. So here is our interview with Yasmin, Raylyn, Lillian, and Keith. Thank you guys very much.
My name's Raylyn Louise Simmons Person, born and raised in Lompoc.
My name is Keith Joseph. I'm from Lompoc. My parents are actually from the South. My mom's from Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. My dad's from Houston, Texas. And their mothers, single mothers, brought them out to the California dream, right?
My mother is Japanese and my father is black. So because she had me, and they have these traditional families in Japan where you don't mix blood. And because I was born, she was out the family.
So I was born in San Bernardino. I left there when I was 4 because gangs started getting bad over there. When my mom had to teach me how to duck and cover because of the drive-bys, then she was like, all right, we're out. So we moved up north, and I lived in Vacaville with my grandma for a while. Then we moved to Oakland.
So I grew up in Japan on an Air Force base. We traveled the world with him, and we wound up in Philadelphia. Now he's a civilian, a retired Air Force major, okay? And I don't know why we settled in a heavily populated black area. So here we come in the 60s, 70s, this mixed breed, you know.
And after Oakland, I came here. I was about 11. So middle school time, all that teenage angst is coming, and I'm like one of 5 black people. Where I was in the majority, then I was the minority, and I just felt like a super loner. But it was kind of cool because I made friends with all the other loners. And I don't know, I started building my tribe, I guess.
It's History Day at school, and every year on Martin Luther King Day, my grandpa would show me a video, and it was the march that Martin Luther King did every year, and I never understood. And to me, I'm like, I'm a little kid, I'm like, I don't want to watch this until 5th grade comes. Now my mental capacity is longer. Now I've experienced, your hair. Why does your hair look like that? Why is your skin like that?
We came off a military base where we were accepted, everyone played together, there was no problems. And then we're put in a community where we're just harassed every day, So what does that do to a young child?
Now I'm 15 and I'm about to drive. I've already seen my dad get pulled over several times, seen him get pulled out of the car. I've been with my friends, my uncles before, and I've seen them get pulled out of the car. But no ID, you're not asking any questions yet, right away, step out of the vehicle. And I see them right away, their hands are up here. I didn't understand that yet, because I'm not at that phase yet. I don't have interactions with police other than when I was younger that I didn't understand. Now I'm 15, and it's taught, you have your wallet right here. In the middle, where it's visible, open at all times. And it's your ID and your insurance. And you have the registration on top of the glove compartment, not in it. And as soon as you get pulled over, it's window halfway down. Halfway down only because, and it's just a routine. You grab that, but you grab it with your left hand. Because I grab with this hand, now I'm extending.
When did you first realize that the white people didn't have to worry about the same things?
When I drove with my white friends.
One of my good white friends, a girl actually, we were on our way to the casino, and she did a Cali roll at the stop sign, and we seen the lights pull up, and she pulls over, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat. I'm stand up straight, make sure my seatbelt's tight, everything, putting my hands on my knees, and the officer comes and doesn't even ask for her ID yet, and literally asks me, do I have a warrant? And she kind of was like, what? And I just looked at him like, I'm not even driving, like, what do I have to do with this situation? And I kind of messed with him and told him, yeah. And he's like, huh, you do? And I was like, no, man, I don't have a warrant. And he took my ID and searched me, and I don't have a criminal record, anything, so.
I've never had a ticket. I've never had a ticket in my life. I don't have a record. I don't have any type of criminal record or anything. But I'm still, this is a crime.
I remember I got in a car crash, and I had my car on the side of the street, and we dealt with I got it towed and everything, and I didn't want to leave this car crash or the crashed car on the street, so I wanted to put in that carport. So I had to go around the corner to do that because it wouldn't back up and turn. So as I'm doing that, I pull up into the driveway. There's only one way out, and it's an apartment complex. And I see cop lights turn on behind me. So I'm not even thinking. I just, I'm like, I'm gonna talk to him, let him know like I got in a car crash. So I just instantly kind of got out the car and slowly started walking towards them, not even thinking like they might find that a violent offense. And as soon as they didn't say one word to me, they ran to me and told me, put your hands on top of your head and spread your feet. And I don't know about you, but when someone grabs me violently, my first reaction is to pull. Like, why are you grabbing me like this? And I just wanted to come talk to you. And you were grabbing me like this and using this force that maybe you wouldn't do if it was a white guy, or you didn't feel so threatened off top when you didn't even know what situation was going on.
So I always had this protective barrier, and I show people what they wanted to see, you know. And until 40, that's when I embraced my uniqueness, you know. So that prejudice and that hatred will give you that anger and hurt inside you that will make you want to hurt or make someone else feel bad, because I could go from 1 to 10 in a second. So I realized, having children, that I didn't want them to grow up in a household with me being angry. So I went and sought help. But I went through so many different episodes in my life, you know, to get me to where I am today.
I came into a mixed race. I felt like after I got over my whole pepper and the salt shaker thing, it was just like, there's a lot of diversity here. Everybody loves everybody.
But Lompoc is a powerful place. It has a lot of beautiful people, a lot of talented people, and it is a little more diverse, and it does have more minorities in SB County.
And there's a certain privilege in that. So, and there's a shelter in that. So once I left and I went to UC Irvine. So in Orange County, they're against homelessness. It's very plastic. White people everywhere. You don't see too much diversity outside of the school. As soon as you walk outside of the school, you're like, oh, different world. I was starting to understand what white privilege was at the time. And then I was understanding that just being from Lompoc gave me privilege. So that's the perspective I'm coming from. I've been able to be on the outside looking in and not necessarily have those direct wounds. That changes my anger from being about fixing it for the people versus just I'm mad about what they did to me.
And when Black lives has just been oppressed and injustice for so many years, and it's 2020 and we're dying on camera, and it's still taking forever just for you to arrest them. You should look at that video one time and be like, yes, you're condemned. You murdered that man. But it takes people rioting and putting the pressure on you to arrest him.
The first I heard about George Floyd was on the tail end of Ahmaud Arbery, and that was on the tail end of the Breonna Taylor. And so it got to George Floyd and I was like, another one. I turned off, I shut down, I didn't want to feel it. I was numb. And then the riots started. The riots is what woke me up to say, oh yeah, this isn't right. No, we really do have to do something.
A couple of days before the march, I actually didn't even want to, I talked to Ray, and I didn't even want to be a part of a march or protest because I felt so angry, and I just didn't know how I would react to if someone came and tore down my sign, or if a cop came and been disrespectful to me. So I didn't even want to put myself in that situation.
And then after I got to the point of like, okay, we got to do something, then I was like, well, what? So I get on social media and my thumbs was working. And then I started almost letting myself get into that hate side of things. It's like, how can you believe this? How could da-da-da? And before, there was a couple times I would write it and then I delete it. And I say, okay, there's a better way. And my friend Megan, who's white, she called me and she was like, oh, I heard there's a protest. I was like, oh, well, I'm busy. I got this going on. And I almost didn't go. And as soon as we got there, I was like, yeah, this is it.
I had friends of friends that said, their mother said, no, I heard a lot of thug activity is gonna be out there, or saying, no, it's gonna be a riot.
I see this one group putting together the protest, and it's all different groups, but we're all meeting at the same place. So then it was like, just like how you were saying earlier, how do we find a middle ground? So once we got there, a little earlier before 4:30, it's like, damn, there's all these people here. We need to do something, because now you have ones with the adrenaline because they don't know what's going to happen. You have the ones that are scared, that, you know, they're like, what are we about to do? What are we about to do? And really, we all have no idea. We're all there for different reasons. So then it was like, I need to get up there and say something now and set the tone so that people understand this is what we're here for. So now it's like, it's safe, come. You need to be here.
We were scared. I was scared. I was definitely scared. I didn't know what was gonna happen, especially what just had happened in Slow. They tried to peacefully do the same thing we did, but they got tear gas thrown in them.
When I went to the protest, I had a bulletproof vest on because that's how prepared I was for whatever was about to happen.
Were you surprised with the diverse turnout?
I didn't know what to expect. I honestly was surprised. It was just kind of those things where you were there and you're just like, what? Like, this is crazy. And people of different races being their 4-year-old daughters with holding a sign. This dude riding on a bike with his little 1-year-old baby.
And a lot of people listened. And you can just tell that from the first group that we had at Ryan Park in the beginning to the last group we had at Ryan Park, to where we're by Coast Hills. Now the group is expanded. We're at Coast Hills and the group is still by Little Caesars.
It was just so many different backgrounds, so many different races, younger, older, standing as one.
Because you feel that connection. As soon as you get there and you look at Yasmin, and you're like, oh, hey! You know, and you see other people that are outraged or whatever, and there's still this joy there because you know that you're in it together.
There wasn't one car that stood behind us and honked at us to move. There was people going in front of us to put their hazards on for the other cars, and they respected us and did the whole lane. Even for the mayor to tell the police to stand down and let us protest peacefully because she saw it, that shows us that she saw a change. Even if she didn't go out and speak directly to, like, you know, with us at that moment, she probably wanted to see what we had too, you know? So now she knows and Lompoc knows, and we set the tone.
But we showed the town, we showed the mayor, we showed the police that we could come together. Young people started this.
But it all has to stay positive. And it's hard, and that's what we have each other for.
We can break stuff and we can go loot and we can tear up Walmart and we can blow this whole town up, but it's like, at the end of the day, what message would we be sending?
We have these young people today that's joining together from different diverse groups that want to change. And I think that will be our difference. You know, we have to give them a voice, a platform. We have to listen to what they want to say.
The moment I realized that we made a difference, even if it's just in the slightest, was when a white man came up to me over there at the protest, and he told me, you know, I came here with different intent. And
what did that mean?
I feel like I knew exactly what it meant because he grabbed my hand when I said it, and I just kind of looked at him like, wow. And he's like, but you guys changed my views.
No, I feel like we're turning a corner. Everybody feels the pressure. You know, when you're in a big vehicle and it turns all the way around, you lean to the side, and then have you ever been in the school bus, you know, when the school bus is turning and the kids just go extra and they leaning all over? It hurts sometimes. People leaning on you, got some big old, look, me, I'm leaning on some little one over there. They feel it. But it's because we feel that pressure that we're able to get the momentum to go in a different direction.
So somewhere we have to work collectively. We have to be willing to work collectively to stop this.
I think you were asking how Lompoc can use that force for good.
There's a lot of energy right now.
Yeah.
How does that?
Check our privilege. Understand that, no, not just white people have privilege. We have privilege just being here.
I feel like God put me here to make the difference. Because I'm a 66-year-old woman. I'm out here with all these young adults, you know, because I think that it's something that I could tell them. And I think they'll listen to me.
I would have told my 15-year-old self to be more fearless, because in that time I was so scared and I was not comfortable with my own skin. I didn't understand my own skin. I didn't really read into my own history as much. I didn't understand that black men would tell me their experiences. My dad would tell me his experience, but I didn't understand. So now I'm in the car riding with you. Now I understand.
So we got to take what we have, take all the resources we have, pull them together, because we have each other here. We really do have each other to lean on and keep going. So this whole protest and all these walks and stuff, that's just us coming together and saying, hey, I see you. Hey, I see you.
Anybody who wants to help in this situation or try to make a change at all, definitely listen. Like, it's more time to listen. Listen, educate yourself. Talk to, if you do have Black friends, talk to your Black friends. These things that you scroll past that may just be a meme or it's a link about history, read about it.
I think all these things will help us in this community. I'm not going to say Rome wasn't built in a day, but I think right now we have to approach these situations. We cannot sleep on it. We have to keep going, keep it hot, while it's going, because if not, this is going to turn into something ugly, because all somebody needs is a reason.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
I hope you heard that and listened intently. We're going to post this as a separate thing that everyone can share and enjoy. But remember, this is something to celebrate. This is something so positive, and I thought I knew a lot. And again, we learned so much yesterday.
So much perspective. We couldn't fit it all in. Maybe we can share more in the future. But I think it's so important to keep the pressure on and participate. And let's not just let this be a one-time thing that we gloss over and we did it and it's done. And racism's over. That's not the way it works. So I loved Lillian's analogy about leaning on the bus, and leaning in. And let's all just kind of steer that wheel together.
So if you see these folks out in town, you make yourself known, connect with these folks. Don't be afraid. Come on, Lompoc. This is we have so many amazing people, and we're just scratching the surface and starting to meet these folks. And it's so fulfilling to meet neighbors you didn't even know you had. So we're incredibly grateful, and we want to keep the conversation going. We know this was a little bit of a serious show, but it wasn't necessarily meant to be. Kids, hang in there. We're going to come back with lots of fun for the kids next week, I promise.
Yeah.
But this was about something that matters, that should matter to all of us, and I hope that our little effort here added some perspective.
Yep.
So thank you for being open to that.
So thank you, Lompoc, and we have a few more clips from the protest here for your moment of Zen. So,
and we're going to take tonight off from our happy hour. I know it still says it on the thing. That doesn't matter right now. We'll come back and look at that next week. We're going to have a great set of shows next week, but today it's all about something that Lompoc did positive and successfulally. So
go Lompoc. We love you. Keep being an awesome part of this community. And here is your moment of Zen.
Thank you.
Thank you.